Okay. So this is why this becomes ever relevant. Why it becomes ever relevant? If there is going to be a child born, the child has to be having food, the child has to have a name. Do you think 10,000 years later they are going to change? The child will not need food, the child will not have a name. You will have a name, right? Then it will get into a relationship, then that you call marriage, correct? So the stages of life of a human being will not change because everybody is born, they go through certain stages and then they die. So this is not going to change. As long as this is not going to change, you will be using the kalpa, the manuals of rituals of how to take care at each stages, correct? So this is why the system of Veda is ever relevant and we need to derive what is applicable today with the help of teachers and tradition and practice it in that appropriate way. Till now it's okay. Now we come to the difference between this living tradition and organized religion, which is very important to know. Okay. Though the organized religions also have their root in Shruti. For example, Quran is revealed to the Prophet, which is accepted. All of us accept that. There are a lot of revelations in Bible. That means what? They didn't sat down, used the intellect, and then they wrote. It all came as a flash. It all was revealed. So all the texts of the world's religion at some point was revealed only. That revealed one is heard, no? That is called Shruti. But what is the difference between the organized religions and the tradition which is living, which is beyond the scope of religions is we also have another set of texts called Smriti. The Smriti texts. Smriti texts are applications of Shruti. For example, how did Rama live as per the Vedic injunctions? When you study Ramayana, he has applied, not when I say he, the entire system of life was there, correct? Then in Mahabharata, you see, you also have a great text called Bhagavad Gita embedded into it. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita comes under Smriti. Why Smriti? All the Smriti texts have a beginning from the memory. Generally, it means from the memory. At the time of Mahabharata, there was a need to collate all this information into the way people of that time can understand. So Krishna transferred the knowledge through the text called Bhagavad Gita. It has a time. That's the beauty of the tradition. Any text you can trace to a time comes under Smriti. That which is ever there comes under Shruti, which is the Veda. It's the easiest way to understand. Okay. So the Smriti texts are subject to change based on the time we live. So some portions of some Smriti texts may not be applicable today. So the living tradition and the masters of the time and age what we live, they tweak it to suit what is there now. Okay, now I'll give you a simple example. Do we know why and when we need an upgrade for the laptop? Microsoft Windows will tell software is ready for updation. For us, we think once you buy something, it stays with us forever. But the people who have the knowledge of software, how it works, what they do, they constantly work in the back end to fix the bugs and upgrades to the operating system. For a simple example, right? So can you say, let me decide when I need it? It will not work. Your laptop will become, anything can happen to you, right? There could be a security breach also. So this is the upgradation happens. If you notice, you didn't change your laptop. The way it is functioning, also we may not understand. So you apply the changes and then the laptop starts to work better, correct? So if for a ephemeral thing like a software or a laptop, you need somebody sitting in the lab research and working, and you acknowledge them as experts, for life also there must be some experts, right? Correct? So these experts are called the masters and the living tradition. You call Microsoft, you call Dell, Acer, these are all companies, right? Just think a bit wider. You have some system where some people are working to keep us abreast with the latest things, right? So the Smriti texts are authored by traditions which help us to stay abreast with how to apply the ever relevant knowledge to the ever changing needs of today. So that is the beauty of tradition. So never think tradition means that which is stagnant. Moment it becomes stagnant, it becomes actually a religion. Why? You can't question anything. Questioning is generally snubbed. But in a living tradition, questioning is encouraged. Is it applicable? Can I adapt? You think some 20 years back, all of us will be sitting like this and studying this knowledge? Huh? None of you are in sari or in any traditional, so-called traditional dress. Was the knowledge denied to you? No. So the same cotton all of us are wearing. But today you can wear in various colors. Like Bhavana, you can wear the dress, you can wear like Chitra, you can wear like Madhumita, the same cotton, right? The way you wear is different. All of us are seated in a different way. See, please understand that is why our tradition is ever relevant. We don't insist that it has to be like this. As long as you know, understand what is adaptability. Okay, adaptability without diluting the essence. Am I right? So this is the key aspect of the living tradition, wherein, like all traditions of the world, it says that the knowledge, the truth is revealed and it continues to be revealed. This is why we accept today also someone can be a seer. It is not exclusively that some 2000 years before somebody got a revelation and today nobody can get. These are all ways we have to understand why a tradition is called a living tradition. Okay, so today science comes back and says, if one person can do something, it means others can also do it. Correct? It's repeatable. Am I right? Similarly, if someone can be a seer 2000 years before, you can have seers today also. So you call Maharishi Dayananda was there, Arya Samaj. Ramana Maharishi you call, great rishis. So it is not something exclusive. Knowledge, realization, access to truth, we never make it so exclusive that it is only for a club or a member. This is another thing we have to understand. Then it is not confined only to a particular group of people. So if you study in India, the saints belong to all backgrounds and all the three genders, not only men, not only women. There are people who are the third gender. So we respect and we bow down before anyone and everyone who is an embodiment of knowledge. We don't give them the exclusive right, either through gender or because you are born in a particular place or a family or a caste or a religion. Truth is accepted anywhere because truth is eternal, that is deeply embedded in our system. Is it okay? So this is how you differentiate, though the knowledge is eternal and revealed, as applicable to today's day and age, these Smriti texts guide us. So you have 18 Puranas. So what is a Puranas? The truth said in the form of a story. Suppose you go in the school, you have a moral science class. So what the teacher will say, she or he will take a story. At the end of the story, the teacher will say, the moral of the story is. If you directly tell the moral of the story, maybe the child will not be able to immediately appreciate. So through the form of a story, some characters are brought in, and at the end you are given, oh, this is why this story is. Now I understand the purpose of a story. Am I right? So Puranas are the same truth communicated in the form which we can relate to. Everybody cannot understand abstract subject, right? So in the form of story. So today, if you see the Princeton University, there is Professor Yuri Hazen. He has studied when you do storytelling and transfer knowledge through storytelling, the person who is sharing the story and the person who is receiving the story, their brain activity is the same. So, first of all, too much intellectualizing and the barrier called ego is not there. You are so engrossed with the story, right? That is why in a movie theater, people of all backgrounds go and watch after seeing the review, the movie is great. Because a story brings down our brain activity in the same level, receptivity increases. This is why the ancients brought up stories. Through the stories, they told the moral of the story. So all this comes under the Smriti texts. Okay, so Shruti and Smriti. So any observations?